The cabin was silent, save for the hum of the engine and the faint, rhythmic ticking of the dashboard clock. Mark tapped the screen. The blue light of the app cut through the darkness, illuminating the interior for a split second before he hit accept. Outside, the street was slick with recent rain, reflecting the neon hum of the city. He pulled the car to the curb. The rear door clicked open, and a man slid into the back seat. He moved with a quiet, fluid precision. "To 42nd Street, please," the man said. His voice was steady, lacking any tremor or hurry. Mark nodded, shifted into drive, and pulled back into the flow of traffic. The city lights blurred into long, golden streaks against the glass. They spoke of the weather, the humidity, and the way the city seemed to shrink under the weight of the night. It was a standard exchange. Mark watched the road, his hands relaxed on the wheel, lulled by the predictable rhythm of the drive. The streetlights passed overhead. The conversation drifted into silence, leaving only the low drone of tires on asphalt. Suddenly, Mark's phone mounted on the dashboard chimed, a sharp, digital tone that pierced the quiet. A notification flashed across the screen in bright white text. Trip canceled. Passenger not in vehicle. Mark frowned, his brow furrowing as he processed the contradiction. He glanced into the rearview mirror, expecting to see the man waiting for the next turn. The back seat was empty. The seatbelt hung limp, unbuckled, and motionless against the upholstery. A cold draft swept through the cabin. Mark blinked, his heart rate spiking as he looked again, confirming the void. Then, the atmosphere shifted. A steady, rhythmic sound of breathing brushed against the back of his neck. Mark jerked the wheel, the tires screeching against the asphalt as the car fishtailed violently across the lane. He slammed his foot on the brake. The passenger was there, leaning forward, a wide, jagged grin fixed on his face. "Keep your eyes on the road," the man whispered. Mark gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white, his pulse hammering against his temples. "Get out!" he demanded, his voice cracking. The passenger leaned further forward, his face inches from the mirror, eyes fixed on Mark's reflection. "Turn left at the next alley," the man commanded, his tone devoid of humanity. "Go to the warehouse district." Mark refused, his jaw set in a hard line. He slammed his foot onto the gas, the engine roaring as the car surged forward, desperate to put distance between himself and the figure in the back. The passenger did not flinch. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a low, chilling rasp. "I am not in the back seat anymore. Check the mirror." Mark flicked his eyes to the glass. The back seat was empty. A sudden, heavy weight pressed into the cushion beside him. He looked to his right. The passenger was sitting in the front seat, inches away, his presence filling the small space of the cabin. Mark slammed on the brakes, the tires screaming as the car skidded to a violent, shuddering halt in the middle of the empty street. He lunged for the door handle, his fingers clawing at the lock, but the passenger vanished. Police arrived minutes later, their flashlights cutting through the dark like scalpels. They found nothing. No fingerprints on the dash, no hair on the seats, no evidence that a second person had ever been in the car. They cited Mark for reckless driving, their voices indifferent to his shaking hands. He drove home in a daze, the silence of the cabin now a suffocating weight. He locked every door, threw the deadbolts, and checked every window. He collapsed onto his sofa, trying to steady his breathing. Then, his phone buzzed on the table. A new ride request appeared. Pickup, his own home address. Passenger name, the person in your closet. Mark stood, his heart hammering. He walked to the bedroom, the floorboards groaning. He reached the closet, his palms slick with sweat, and yanked the door open. It was empty.